Hi there, welcome to the Happy Chicken Coop YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about how to sex a duck. Before we get into that, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also be sure to subscribe to our website, thehappychickencoop.com. If you subscribe using the link in the description, you'll receive a free ebook on the 10 best egg-laying chicken breeds. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. So you finally researched why you should have ducks, but now you need help sexing them. Sexing ducks or even ducklings is possible using a variety of simple to complex techniques. Depending on the method you choose and your skill set, sexing of ducks can occur when they are merely days old. Once you discover what physical and audio cues to look for when staring at a batch of baby ducklings, the sound they make and actions they engage that once seemed identical can help you separate the future hens from the future drakes. The most reliable way of sexing a duck is through a vent or cloaca check. While separating the boys from the girls is essentially 100% accurate, a novice should never try it. Damaging a duck or duckling, especially by improperly or too roughly conducting a vent check, could severely injure or even kill the poultry bird. While details about vent checking and an overview of the process are going to be included in this video in how to sex a duck, only professionals or individuals formally trained should attempt this process. So let's start off with how to sex a duck. And we'll do number one, vent checking. Checking the cloaca or vent reveals the reproductive organ of a duck. All of the reproductive organs of both male and females are entirely tucked inside their bodies. When a vent is checked the right way by skilled hands, the duck is neither harmed nor emotionally traumatized by the sex check. But if a person doing the vent check does not do it properly and applies more than extremely gentle pressure on the belly or the duck or the vent area, you could irreparably harm the poultry bird. Only slight pressure is needed to expose the vent, just barely to see the internal housed reproductive organs of the duck. This exam should only be performed by a veterinarian or experienced duck keeper. Now, you can safely and successfully sex a duckling when it is a day or a few days old, but it is recommended to hold off entirely on a vent check until the duckling is close to 2 weeks old. The younger the duckling, the more fragile and susceptible it is to injury during a cloacal exam. So here's the steps. Number one, place the duck on a level and solid surface. Step number two, place the duck's legs away from you and its breast face up. Number three, ensure the duck's tail hangs away from the vent to expose the area thoroughly. Step number four, to find the vent, feel along the tail feathers to locate the small opening. Step five, place your thumbs on either side of the cloaca opening, and only then should you slowly use very mild pressure to open the vent slightly apart to expose the walls. A female duck will have an oviduct opening in her cloaca, and a male duck will have a thin and protruding penis. The penis will be sheathed in male ducklings and young ducks and unsheathed in mature drakes. Now, we have found a video that will be more helpful as far as showing the step-by-step process. We'll link to it here. Now, remember, never should the cloaca be opened any more comprehensive than necessary, nor should it be held in a position for any longer than maximum of 30 seconds. If conducting a vent check sounds too complicated or you cannot find someone to teach you, there are other less intricate ways to determine the sex of a duck. Now, the other way to check the sex of a duck is the size of the duckling. When ducklings are a few days old, a distinct difference in size often becomes apparent. Male ducklings, regardless of breed, are almost always taller than females and weigh more. In the case of Rowan, Welsh Harlequin, and Mallard duck breeds, males tend to have a giant head and a thicker neck than females. Another way you can check the sex is the plumage check. Some duck breeds can be sexed by their plumage even when they are merely ducklings. Domesticated duck breeds that show plumage differences that can help determine sex includes cayugas, pekins, magpies, Indian runners, anconas, and Swedish. Doing a little bit of research into the specific breed of duck that you are keeping can help you learn about any plumage coloration variances that may exist and how you can use them to sex a duck. In some breeds, it is not entirely uncommon for all ducklings to boast only female plumage colors until they are roughly 90 days old. Regardless of the breed, all mature males will develop a drake feather. Either one or two curly tail feathers will grow on the flat tail of a drake. Another way to sex a duckling is the wing characteristics. Ducklings in some breeds grow feather sprouts on their wings, and sometimes even tails and bellies at different rates. In some, if not many species, a female duckling will show signs of the first actual feather sprouting more quickly than males of the same age. Watch the changes on ducklings as the fuzz they boasted when hatching starts to turn to actual feathers. Also, take the feel and the weight of the wings into consideration when sexing a duckling based upon wing characteristics. On average, a female's wing will lose the thin and papery feel more quickly than a male's wing. Another way to sex a duck is the voice. The sound ducks make can also help keepers determine their sex even from a relatively young age, 6 weeks old on average. Until ducklings hit this growth milestone, they tend to just sound alike. Choose one duckling at a time to work with when attempting to sex the poultry bird by their voice tone. Pick up the duckling and move away from the rest of the birds to ensure you hear only it and do so clearly. At 6 months or older, a female duckling will have a demanding tone in her voice. Female ducklings and ducks also often make a louder sound that can rattle the ear and pitch. Male ducklings usually create a more soft quack in an even tone. All of the duck breeds we have ever kept boasted females that sound like they are honking more than quacking. The honking sound truly comes out more when the female ducks are agitated or excited. The sixth way you can determine the sex of duck or a duckling is breeding season. Whether you are raising ducks to grow your flock or to lay eggs, the characteristics during breeding season should help give the sex away. During the breeding season, some varieties of drakes will develop tiny red freckles on their bills. Mature drakes will sometimes put on elaborate displays to garner their attention. A drake throws his head back and kicks at the water wildly while swimming to coax the ladies to choose him as a mate. Drakes in some breeds will hold both their heads and tail up erect while floating around on the water to show off their most attractive selves to the females in the flock. A female reciprocates head bobbing initiated by a drake. It swims over to and positions itself in front of to entice her to accept his desire to mate. Drakes also often engage in a nod-swimming motion just before mating. He swims only a short distance with his neck laying low against the water and his body is flat, close to the water as possible. It is not uncommon for a drake to show this behavior before and right after mating. The seventh way to sex a duck or a duckling is bill identification. Male and female ducks of some breeds have different size bills, different colors or shapes. If you are keeping ducks from a specific breed with bill distinctions, do not expect to be able to notice any differences until a duckling is at least 2 months old. While the differences in the duck bills can vary, some males are prone to orange and orange-brown bills, and males are more likely to have green accounts. If bills are the same color, the shape or size of the bill can still be different. Here are the duck breeds that develop bill differences that are easiest to notice. Khaki Campbells, Muscovy ducks, fawn runners, rowans, Abaco rangers, Appleyards, black runners, Welsh harlequins, and Indian runners. With Muscovy ducks, for example, the male has a bill that is straighter, wider, and noticeably flatter than those on females of the same breed. A hen of this breed typically produces a curvy, narrow, platypus-style bill and has a distinct ridge in the middle. When hatched, both fawn and black runner ducks have dark bills, but once they begin to grow in age, the common differences I just described start to appear. Both male and female Abaco rangers have green bills, but the hens of this breed are dark green, and the drakes have accounts in a lighter green hue. Another way you can tell as far as different sexes is the feet. Pay attention to the waddling habits of your duck to help determine their sex. Long before you can tell a male duckling from a female based on plumage, bills, or even body size difference, their feet might offer clues to their sex. The feet of the male ducklings are often disproportionate to their body size. Male ducklings often get their feet crossed when walking about more than females and have bulkier legs than females. So when ducklings are just standing, their gait, I guess, or their stance tend to be like more wider stance than that of a young female. The last way to be able to sex a duck is the duckling behavior. Female ducklings are often more active than the future drakes. Maybe the little female ducklings move about more frequently and quickly because they do not usually have the same issues with disproportionate feet. When the ducklings are only a couple weeks old, the differences in activity levels can become noticeable. Any duckling that seems to prefer just kind of laying around most of the day or look lethargic are likely male ducklings. Being able to sex a duck properly aids breeders and small-scale keepers to plan flock increases with a healthy male-to-female ratio and expand the coop and run if necessary. That's going to do it for us here at the Happy Chicken Coop. Thanks for listening. If you find our content interesting, if you learned something new, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And with that, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.